What's up, everybody? JL Ferren with God Made Millionaire Inner Circle. Welcome to our first training for January 2022. And I want to really start this training off with a bang. I know it's the end of the month, right? It's the end of January, but how's your January really been going? Have you really started off strong and you're going after your goal? Maybe you made New Year's resolutions and you're executing on that, right? Maybe some of you have made goals to lose weight or May goes to start a business, or May goes to really get that book written so you can get it published, or maybe you've made goals to appear on God Made Millionaire TV and you're going to be a guest on the show and share your story with the world, right? Maybe you've made goals to actually really dig deep into your business or create an invention or a product, whatever it is that you decided to do. The question is, are you executing on that? Are you walking in whatever assignment you have? That's the question I want to ask, because here's the thing. So many people make goals at the beginning of the year. They, put themselves in the mindset of having a fresh start, right? But the problem is that as that year progresses on, right, and goes from month to month, their desire and their excitement about fulfilling whatever assignment that they've been given or whatever goal they created, it decreases. It decreases. And there's a couple reasons for that. Number one, it could be because maybe the assignment that you've taken on is not supposed to be your assignment, right? Or maybe the goal that you set is unrealistic, right? Or maybe the goal you set is not big enough, right? You're not playing big enough, right? So the thing is, you have to be able to figure out, what it is that you need to do in order to make this goal or make this assignment a reality. Think about this. At the end of the day, the main focus that we really should be focusing on is walking in our purpose. Really, what has God called us to do? Why are we here, right? If God has revealed that to you, right, your purpose, then you really have to figure out, and if you're working full-time jobs and all these different things that's going on, right, you really have to figure out outside of that how to walk in your purpose. You got to be able to figure this out, because the thing is that as you walk in your purpose, you'll begin fulfilling certain assignments and you're going to be elevated to different levels, and you got to be able to discover what those levels are, right? Now, maybe some of you listening to this, maybe you haven't discovered your purpose, and that's why this month for the God Made Millionaire TV episode that I want you guys to really focus on and take notes on and study and engage with is about discovering your purpose. It's about discovering your purpose, right? But here's the thing, and again, this is for those of you that are looking to discover their purpose or you have discovered your purpose. The question is, how is that going to unfold, right? How is it going to unfold? This is a key question that I asked last year when it came to certain things that I wanted to know about, my journey, and it wasn't being revealed to me clearly to where I understood it, right? I wanted answers that I wasn't privy to having just yet from God. There's times where you will ask God to give you the answer, right? And he won't give it to you. Not right away anyway. And so it's like, what do you do in that moment? What do you do when you ask God for an answer and you don't get it? That's a question I had. It's a question that I struggle with at times until I was told two words that pretty much changed everything when it came to my mindset on this question of what is the answer that I'm seeking, right? I knew the question, but I didn't know the answer. The answer was simple, 2 words. This is what I was told. Trust God. Trust God. The reality is that you're going to be faced with situations when you're walking in your purpose where you're not going to be able to see around the corner. You're not going to be able to see to the end of the tunnel. And you're going to wonder, well, what's at the end of the tunnel? What's around the corner? What am I coming up on, God? What is the answer to the questions that I have in my mind about how I'm going to carry out this purpose and this mission, right? And the reason we want to be able to know that answer is because we want to make sure that we got all our I's dotted and all our T's crossed, right? But the reality is that as long as God knows where we're going and He's the one that's leading us, right? He's our creator, then all that matters is that we put our trust in Him and allow Him to do what He does as God. We allow God to do what God does best. Be God, be our creator. All we got to do is just continue to walk. If we continue to walk and take those steps, then more and more will be revealed to us, right? Because it may be a situation where God reveals certain things to us and then we become fearful, so fearful that we don't take the next step. And that's critical. You know what's most critical also is that first step. That first step is very critical because if you don't take that first step, then you don't get to see the door that opens up to be able to take that second step. And when I say the doors opening up, I'm talking about certain ways that God will bless you, right? And position you to bless others. You won't be able to experience that. You won't be able to see that. And I promise you, if you don't, you'll regret it. You will regret it. You do not want to go into the grave, right? 6 feet under, God forbid, at any point with that dream inside of you, that unfulfilled purpose that God planted in you. You didn't fulfill it because you were afraid of what God revealed to you. And see, the thing is, being fearful of taking the necessary steps based on what God reveals to you means that, or it implies that you don't trust Him. And you got to be able to trust God in order to take those steps. See, we're walking in faith. We're walking towards something that we cannot see. We can't see the end of the tunnel. We can't see around the corner. We can't see what's ahead of us. It's like we're walking in darkness, right? But light can't be overcome by darkness, right? God is the light. And so at the end of the day, as long as we trust God and walk with God, we'll be able to get through that darkness and get to where we want to go. I'm going to tell you a quick story. In 2019, it was my toughest year, but one of my most successful years. My toughest year, but one of my most successful years. Why? Because I was going through a lot of personal things, relationship, issues. I had not financial issues. Financial issues, my financial situation was okay, right? But, it could have been better, right? We can always have a better financial situation. But the reality was that I was going, again, through relationship issues, being able to understand how to take my financial status to the next level, right? Being able to improve upon it, right? Again, I wasn't facing any problems when it came to that, but I wanted to, obviously shift into another bracket, so to speak, right? As far as my businesses were concerned that I was involved in, and that I still am involved in. I also was having to sell my house at the time, and I was also going to school at the time, and it's just I had so much going on, but the reality was I asked for it. Because when I prayed in the beginning of that year, I asked God not to allow me to live a mediocre lifestyle. I asked God to not allow me to do just enough. I wanted to do more than enough. And the reason I wanted to do more than enough because I knew that doing more than enough would finally position me to be able to handle whatever God has for me, whatever his purpose is for me. And I knew that at the end of the day, this journey and this prayer that I was asking God for, it was going to be stressful, it was going to be discouraging, it was going to just be a lot going on for me, but I had to be able to punch through it. I had to be able to punch through it, right? I remember I took a class and it was pre-calculus. And I'm telling you right now, ended up going back to school. I got my high school diploma, all that type of stuff, right? But I didn't get my degree. I didn't finish my degree because I was in the military and I was getting deployed overseas, and I had to, stop going to school for different situations throughout the years, while I was in the military and even when I got out the military. Right. But 2019, I decided, you know what? I'm going to go back to school. I only got a couple classes left and I'm going to get my degree. Right. And one of the classes that I had left, or two of the classes I had left, was pre-calculus and calculus. Now, again, this is about, over 20 years removed from being in high school, right? 20 years later to now taking pre-calculus. Haven't done math in years, right? And so now I'm in a situation where I have to relearn things that I learned 20 years ago about math when it comes to algebra and algebra 2 and all this, and now pre-calculus, which is completely new to me, right? And not only that, but I made the genius decision of doing this online, which means that a lot of what I was learning, I had to be able to teach myself and research and be able to learn on my own in order to get through the class. And I will say that this was a very stressful time in my life in 2019, taking pre-calculus, 20 years removed from high school. It was very, very challenging. It was very, very difficult. And I almost gave up. I almost quit. I literally contacted the military and asked them, how is it that I can get out of this class? How is it that I can just let it go? The thing was, I had already missed the deadline to withdraw from the class to where I wouldn't have to worry about paying for it, right? I already missed that deadline because I thought that I can get through this class. But when I took my first test, I completely failed it. And I was told if I failed another test, there was only 4 tests. I was told if I failed 2 tests, then there's no way I'd be able to pass the class. And I'm like, man, that's not even fair. That's not even right, right? But the reality was that this was the path that I had to walk, right? And I called the military and I said, how can I get out of this class? I need to be able to get out of this class. I'm not going to pass it. I already know I'm not going to pass it. And I was already like giving up, right? And she said, the only way that you can get out of this class is if you fail the whole thing, and then we'll just let you retake it. And I said, that's it. That's all I got to do is just fail out of the class, and you'll let me retake it, and then I'll, do better later. And she said, yep, that's all you got to do. And so I started thinking, and this is crazy, right? I started thinking about failing. Like, all I got to do is just fail and bomb the rest of the class, right? Bomb the next test or whatever, and I'm done. That's it. I'm all right. I ain't got to worry about the stress. I can just focus on other things, not worry about school right now, be stress-free from it, and I'll take it again in the summertime and, be good to go. But I don't know if it was my pride or just my mindset of wanting to be successful and wanting to succeed. I couldn't do that. I couldn't allow myself to just fail intentionally, right? So I really had to figure out, okay, are we going to give this a shot? Are we going to actually go hard on studying, right? Go hard on making certain sacrifices in my life in order to get through this class. I prayed about it. I made a plan about it, and I executed. And the next test, I'm not going to say I aced it, but I did better and I passed it, right? Then the third test came. I did even better and I passed that. And then the final test came. I did great and I passed it. See, I had to stay up late nights. I had to study. I had to watch hours of videos to learn. I had to get with tutors during the week. I did everything I could. I exhausted all my options in order to be able to successfully pass this class. And I got a B. I got a B and passed the class. And I didn't have to retake it. I didn't have to fail it on purpose. The thing was that I had to be able to trust God, number one, that I can get through this class. I had to be able to trust myself that I could do what's necessary and take the necessary steps in order to make that happen, right? And I had to be able to push through it no matter how discouraged I was, no matter how much I felt like giving up, no matter how many people might have said I wasn't going to make it, even though nobody said that, but I'm just saying in general, right? If they did, I had to be able to push through that no matter how physically exhausted I was, no matter how mentally exhausted I was or frustrated I was, right? At the end of the day, I had to do what I had to do to push through it. And the reason I'm telling you about this is not to brag about my college course. It's to impress upon you that when you walk in your journey, when you walk in your purpose, there's going to be times where you're going to be faced with adversity and you're going to have to push through it in order to get to the other side. Because on the other side of me passing this class was my degree. That was on the other side. So when I had to take calculus, guess what? I carried the same mentality that I took with pre-calculus into calculus. And I said, I'm going to do whatever it takes to be successful and pass this class, right? This was also the same year that we started God Made Millionaire TV. And I was invited out to the studio to check out, different television shows that, were ongoing. And TC and I initially weren't even, God Made Millionaire TV wasn't even a thought. TC invited me out to come check it out, the studio, and see how things were going. I was very excited, fell in love with it. Like, oh man, this is awesome. This is amazing. Like, lights, camera, action, producers, directors, camera crew, makeup artists. I mean, it was a whole new world that I was being introduced to. And I'm like, man, this is amazing. Right. And he invited me out. I saw what I needed to see. And then I had to go back to reality of my situation, dealing again with the relationship issues, going to school, and again trying to improve my financial status. Right? It was just a lot going on. Oh, and also trying to sell my house. Right? Trying to move. A lot going on. And he invited me back out again for a second time. And literally, I'm thinking in my mind, like, man, look, I got too much going on. I'm going to school, trying to sell my house, trying to get my this relationship situation under control, and wherever it's going to go, that's where it's going to go, right? It was just too much going on, and I had to work a full-time job. And he invites me out again, and he says, I need you here. I want you to be here. And me and TC, we've had a relationship for over 16 years. Right? So when he tells me, hey, I need you here, I need you here, I want you to be here, regardless of how I felt inside of, again, whatever I was going through, I had to trust God that this is the path that he wanted me to go. And I went out there again to support him and to see, everything that was going on and be involved in it. And that's where the idea of God Made Millionaire TV came about. And that's where also I was offered 2 weeks later the position to become CEO of the company. And if you don't think that God had anything to do with that, trust and believe. This was a whole new situation, because now we were walking into the purpose, why I'm here right now. I'm not saying that this is my only purpose of, God Made Millionaire. I don't know how deep this is going to go. I don't know where God is going to take this thing. All I know is that I'm responsible for taking the next step, whatever that next step is. I'm responsible for trusting God. I'm responsible for whatever he puts on my heart to do, like this particular training right here that we're going through, whatever. If that's what God gives me, then I got to give it. I'm responsible for that. That is, what I need to do. It's not about fear. It's not about you know, not fulfilling my purpose. It's not about believing and not trusting in God. It's about taking that first step and then the next step and the next step. And as God reveals to you his blessings, man, you just appreciate that. You know what I mean? You take hold of that and you use those blessings to bless others. And as you bless others, as you take on more responsibilities, right? And as you get built up and positioned to the level where God wants you, you're going to get more blessings, more responsibilities, right? More opportunities to bless others. You're walking in your purpose. You're fulfilling your destiny. Now, for you, I don't know what that is, right? Only you know what your purpose is, but maybe you don't. Maybe you haven't discovered it yet. And that's why I want you to really watch that God Made Millionaire TV episode and, like I said, engage with it, take notes, right? But more importantly, I want you to pray about it. I want you to pray that God reveals to you what your purpose is. Or if you already discovered your purpose, I want you to pray that God fulfills the next step for you, that God increases your faith, that God increases the trust that you need to have in him in order to take that next step, that God decreases your fear that you might have. I want you to be intentional about that because at the end of the day, this year, 2022, the year that we're doing this training, I want you so focused. I want you to be executing because my mindset in 2019 was just to get it done and get through it no matter what. No matter how I feel, no matter what, the enemy tries to throw at me, I'm going to get through it no matter what. I'm not giving up. There is no quit in me. You understand what I'm saying? I am a God made millionaire. There's no quitting me. I'm going to do whatever it takes to make this happen. Now, 2 years later, right? I got my degree, sold my house. The relationship, it didn't go the way, it should have went. And we ended up, splitting up. But, at the end of the day, we're co-parenting and, we're there for our three children. We love them dearly, right? And we're successfully co-parenting right now. I have my own place where I live with my children, and I'm in an environment where I can be a better father and I can be a leader of them and raise them up right. I'm entering into the third season of God Made Millionaire TV. Blessings upon blessings upon blessings, in spite of any negativity, any problems, any discouragement that the enemy tried to throw my way. I had to trust God that the decisions that I was making, whether I liked those decisions or not, I had to trust God that the decisions I was making, he would have my back. That he would be there for me. That he would never leave me nor forsake me, as it is written. As it is written. Okay? So, really, this month is about either discovering your purpose or taking the next step to walk in your purpose. Being fearless. Not worrying about having all the answers, but trusting in God and ensuring that you do what God is calling you to do. Not delaying it, not waiting on it, not being discouraged to the point where you want to quit and give up. Don't you want to see what God has for you on the other side? Don't you want to experience God's blessings in your life? Don't you want to be positioned to where you can bless somebody else's life? Almost every episode of God Made Millionaire TV, you'll see guests come on our show and they talk about how God has blessed their life. And a lot of them talk about how they've been able to be positioned to bless others' lives. That's what it's all about. Blessings upon blessings, right? To be able to, again, walk in our purpose and fulfill our assignment. And at the same time, we're being blessed and we're able to bless others. That's incredible. We were blessed to have God Made Millionaire TV, right? We were blessed with the show. And now we can use that show, right, to bless others all around the world. 200 nations, 93 million homes. Today's show, right, was about an individual. His name is Billy Dyson, and he had a drug problem. He was addicted to drugs. He was arrested 33 times, and he was able to just trust in God and surrender everything to Jesus Christ, right? And be able to turn his life around and become sober and become a business owner, right? And be able to really change his life and walk in whatever God has called him to do. And that show, the reason I bring that up is because that show, through God Made Millionaire TV, was able to be broadcasted through multiple correctional facilities and multiple prisons around the world, around the country, around the country. Multiple prisons and multiple correctional facilities around the whole country. And if a prisoner turned on the show, God Made Millionaire TV, right? If they were able to turn on that show and watch it and hear what Billy Dyson had to say today, I'm going to go out on a limb and pretty much say I can guarantee they were blessed. I can guarantee they were blessed. Because imagine somebody being in a situation where they're in prison, right? They feel so discouraged, right? They feel so full of fear, frustration, anger, maybe going through depression. They feel lonely, right? And they turn on God Made Millionaire TV and they see someone like Billy Dyson telling them that they can be freed from their situation. Maybe they can't be freed physically, right? Maybe they're facing a life sentence, right? But maybe they can be freed mentally. Maybe they can be freed spiritually, right? Because pretty much that's what Billy was talking about. He was talking about how you can be freed from addiction physically, but you can also be freed spiritually, right? And when you get freed spiritually, you can get freed mentally as well, right? But at the end of the day, it's all about being freed from whatever is holding you back and holding you down from being close with God. That's what today's episode was about. All right. And the reason I bring that up again is to be able to just encourage you guys, everybody listening to this, guys and gals, right? I just want to encourage you to either discover your purpose, discover what your assignment is, ask God to reveal that to you, or discover what the next step is in walking in your purpose. Ask God to reveal that to you. Because that's what it's all about. Ask God how you can bless others. How can He position you to bless others? What is it that you need to do? And ask Him to give it to you, no matter what. Ask Him to increase your faith. Ask Him to decrease your fear, right? Ask Him to give you what is necessary, equip you with the tools and the resources and the people and the support that you need in order to fulfill His purpose that He's given you, that He's planted inside you. Don't allow yourself to go to the grave with that purpose unfulfilled. You can do it. I believe in you. I'm here for you, and I want to support you in this. But you got to be the one to take the step, whether it's the first step or the next step. You got to be the one to do it. All right. So I hope you enjoyed this training. I hope you are encouraged by this training, and I hope you do what you got to do to fulfill your purpose. God bless. I am a God-made millionaire.